election of 1800 was decided in the House of Representatives, it was time for Thomas Jefferson to take his place as our third President of the United States. On March 4, 1801, Thomas Jefferson was sworn into office by Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Marshall. Marshall was a Federalist and one of John Adams' last political appointees. Jefferson wanted to make the government more democratic by providing all people with equal rights. He pleaded for national harmony after the very bitter election the previous year. Jefferson said, "All, too, will bear in mind this sacred principle, that the minority possesses their equal rights, which equal law must protect. Let us, then, fellow citizens, unite with one heart and one mind. We are all Republicans. We are all Federalists." The Republicans believed the federal government's role should be to keep people from injuring each other. They should be free to regulate their own pursuits. He advocated a laissez-faire policy allowing people to do as they choose, or a hands-off policy. With the assistance of his Secretary of the Treasury, Albert Gallatin, the Jefferson promise of paying off the national debt started to be put in place. Gallatin worked to simplify government by cutting the military. The Army went from 4,000 to 2,500 soldiers, while the Navy went from 25 to 7 ships. The one Federalist idea Gallatin convinced Jefferson to keep was the National Bank, or the Bank of the United States, which remained untouched. As for taxes, the Republican-controlled Congress repealed the excise tax on whiskey and other products, leaving the government's only source of income tariffs on imports and western land sales. Jefferson thought this would be enough money to pay for roads, education, the arts, and other public works. In 1801, the Alien and Sedition Acts expired, and Congress changed the Naturalization Act back to 5 years residency requirement from the 14 years required by the Alien Acts. Just prior to Jefferson taking office, John Adams filled many federal judicial posts with Federalist judges. They became known as midnight judges, because many were appointed prior to midnight of Adams' last day in office. One appointment, William Marbury, did not receive his commission as Adams left office, and Jefferson ordered his Secretary of State, James Madison, to not send Marbury his commission. Marbury then petitioned the Supreme Court to force Madison to carry out his duties and deliver the commission. This court case became known as Marbury v. Madison. The Supreme Court unanimously voted that Marbury had a right to his commission, but they failed to force Madison to hand over the commission to Marbury. Chief Justice John Marshall explained that the Judicial Act of 1789 was unconstitutional because the Congress could not give such powers to the Supreme Court. The decision in Marbury v. Madison became known as judicial review, claiming that the Supreme Court could declare a law unconstitutional. This decision set a precedent still used today when reviewing laws passed by Congress. Now it's time for our second quarter test review question number 1. The Sedition Act meant that people could no longer speak badly about the government. Question number 2. Which of the following is not a Jeffersonian view of America? A. Only the educated, wealthy should rule, or B. Small government? The correct answer is A. Only the educated, wealthy should rule.